Who better than me?
Welcome back to another episode of the Hardcore Casual with your boy, Base the Kid. Gotta keep this one real brief. Monday morning, got work to go to in a couple hours. Probably shouldn't even be doing this, but anyway. Guess I'll start in reverse to the events that took place over the weekend. The extended weekend, starting with Gervonta Tank Davis against Isak Pitbull Cruz. Name's Isaac, but whatever. Didn't watch the fight. Said I wouldn't watch the fight. Was not paying to watch it on Fight TV. $12.99 I think is what they was trying to charge. I don't buy pay-per-views for fights I didn't ask for, and I didn't ask for this one. Now, I have seen a couple of the highlights, and by all accounts, Cruz actually did very well in this fight. I was wrong in thinking that Tank would get him out of there in the late rounds. I think I predicted round 10 or 11. I think it could have been a bit sooner than that, but whatever. He actually went the distance, which is good, because in one sense that actually does show the overratedness of Tank's power at the higher weight limits, which is what I did say previously with the Gamboa thing. A guy that was on one leg for 11 rounds got a gift stoppage against Barrios, 11th round, but again a nondescript person of note. And actually I didn't even realize until after the fight that Barrios had initially come up from, I think, that 122. So again, he was another original small guy. Santa Cruz, obviously, as I said before, smaller guy. The much smaller guy started at 122, mainly campaigning at 126, came up to 130, and now says he's getting back down to 126. So it is what it is. Like I said, I haven't seen the fight too much, so I can't particularly comment on how he looked or whatever, but apparently it's a good look for Cruz, so big up to him. I'm sure he can parlay this off into some other bigger fights for himself, make some more money, and all that good stuff. So yeah, keep it moving. Right, the zone card was a good card. I only really spoke about Haney and Diaz, but quickly I just want to say Jessica McCaskill, while she put on a very ruthless slugfest, didn't get hit too much, like rolled a lot of shots, took a lot of shots on the shoulders and gloves, did get hit maybe more than she needed to, but Kiki Wyatt was actually Candy Wyatt, my apologies, thinking of music now. Yeah, no, Candy White actually did quite well, but I knew that she was a tough competitor, so at the very least she was going to come and try and bring it. Like, she wasn't just going to fold under any sign of pressure. She didn't. Yeah, nice performance from her, but Jessica just too big, too experienced, too relentless. Like, she's the definition of a pressure fighter. Punches in bunches for the women. Like, she's definitely dangerous. 140 to 147, like, she's definitely the person to come see right now. But having said that, anyone with like a superior boxing brain in those bigger weights that can actually match her for size will put her in problems. But the work rate she has does sort of lend benefit to her and how she's moving. My guy though on the show, who I've been talking about for a little while now, Montana Love, he showed out. I mean, he missed weight, so that wasn't great. Same thing that Khalil Cole did the other day, and not too happy about that. But you know, they readjusted, made it a catch weight of 144, but he'll be back down. I mean, I can't lie, the dog thing's interesting. I mean, it got people talking. him and his dog doing his stretches in the dressing room beforehand with the woman stretching the neck, warming him up. Hey, I mean, it all adds to the fun. And at the end of the day, guy can box. Not only can he box, like, man's got power. Like the way he slumped Baranchek earlier on in the year, the way he knocked down his other brother 3 times in round 2 from the same combination of punches that the guy just left himself open for. Like it was good work. It was good work. So yeah, I am very sort of happy with that. I'm definitely on the train. I've done my research, so hopefully a video about him will be out on a different platform at some point. Yeah, all the best to him. Apparently Zili Zhang called out Filip Hrgović, although I meant to say this the other day. I actually don't think that he called out Filip Hrgović when they was talking about the Croatian guy. I actually think he was talking about Alan Babic, and then they just threw Filip Hrgovic's name at him, and it was only because, you know, Chinese didn't really understand English too tough. He couldn't really change it. He's like, yeah, him. My suspicion, but I think he was talking about Babic. But either way, he said the Croatian guy. They said Hrgović. He shook his head. He nodded his head. Sorry. So, but I guess if he wants that work, that should be the fight next, and maybe they could have that for Hrgovic's IBF eliminator, because he deserves that at this point. And that one was from, was that last week? Yeah, I think that was last week's fight. So obviously Hrgović come on this show. I quite liked the guy that he was fighting. He actually came to fight, but Hrgović was literally there, legit hitting this guy to the back of the head for the entire fight, and didn't once get any call or reprimand from the referee. It was mad. Like, so that needs to be looked at moving forward. I know sometimes guys them duck down, but it's like, yo, if they're ducking down, then you've got to bring, like, you've got to swing a hook. Like, you can't just straight be punching down when you see a guy, if a guy's head is outside of your general line of vision. Like, it's not allowed. Like, you can't hit. Do you know, when they talk about behind the back of the head, I'll say this real quick, like, and they say, oh, behind the back of the ear, oh, that's not the back of the head. Like, I'm like, how is that not the back of your head? To be real, to me, anything from your ear front is a legal punch, in my opinion. Anything from, like, where your ear starts, anywhere from there all the way around there, to me, that's the back of the head, because that's where the skull's the softest. That's where there's the least amount of fluid protecting the brain, all that stuff. I just don't see how those can be classified as legal punches. I've never understood that, to be totally honest. And yeah, I'm not a fan. I don't like it personally, but I mean, yeah, that's me anyway. But yeah, overall, like I said, it was a pretty good card. I actually enjoyed all that. Haney, Diaz, I mean, I did predict it would be a UD. I think I gave it as a 117, 111, or sort of something along those lines. I said that there's a potential that he could stop him if Diaz gets a cut, because he cuts up quite easily. Didn't cut up on this one, so went the distance. Like, Haney got hit with some shots, some decent shots. Stayed on his feet, took the shots. Yeah, sometimes he got slightly rocked a little bit, buzzed a bit. But again, I say to the same people that's like, oh, Haney's chinny. You can't take a punch, rare. He's the only one of these man that ain't been on his arse yet. The only one. Even Tank's been down. And even though they tried to wipe it off as a non-knockdown, but the punch landed before the legs got tangled up, and he was already falling backwards at the time. So yeah, Ryan's been down. Lopez was down in the last fight. He was also down in his professional debut, which a lot of people don't know about. So there's that. Obviously, Lomachenko's been down. I said Ryan Garcia's been down. Who else is in that mix? It's just them, and even Kambosos has been down at this point, and he's the unified champ. So, everyone talking about Devin Haney's chin, like, false narrative, innit? I will say though, like, you could tell that he can't really make 135 too much longer. I do think it affects his power, because if we look at him 2 years ago, or was it about 3 years ago, I was just like, what was it, 2018, 2019, when he had those fights, those first couple fights on the zone. Remember, he scored that brutal knockout. The names of the guys escape me, and I ain't got the time to look right now. But there was that fight, and then the following fight straight after that, he broke. I think he broke the guy's orbital bone, and he had to retire in his corner. Like, since then, there's been like no knockouts or real damaging punches or whatever thus far, which tells me that the body's starting to grow. Now that you're dropping, you're having to cut back on certain nutrition, certain weight, maybe the power is just not quite there. Like, I'm not saying he ever had elite level power, but he had pop, he had good solid power. But like I said, Nate scored a knockout in, I think, the last 4 fights he's had, which could tell you that, yeah, the 140 division is beckoning. So hopefully him and Kambosos get this fight on next year, April, March time. If I was Eddie, to be honest, he's saying May, I would try to go for March, April. Like, let the man only have to make the weight at the start of the year, and then let him, if he wins, gets all the belts, moves up straight away. I don't think there's no reason to stick around after that. But yeah, big ups to Haney. He done his thing. Great technician, and all the best for him moving forward. And even Jojo, like, he put on a very good performance. The only problem with Jojo is he didn't let his hands go quick enough, soon enough, didn't pressure quick enough. And because he's not a devastating puncher himself, he needs to do more to clearly win these rounds, and he wasn't doing that. So, but he'll come again, and I'm sure that he will give other people trouble, especially now he's at a weight he's not having to cut down too much to make either. So maybe the punch power that he didn't have before, he might start increasing and picking up on moving forward. So that was a good fight. Now, ultimately, we get to the main topic, which was Arthur Yarde 2. Now, it's funny because in my prediction video, I literally, play by play, said exactly how this fight would go, and was right about 95% of it, except the outcome. Because I legit said that Yarde has probably got about, based on what I saw in the weight cut and how he looked on the scales, he's maybe got about 5 or 6, maximum 7, like, optimum rounds. And he was not only going to start fast, he was likely going to have Arthur in some problems, in some real dangerous problems in that first 3 or 4 rounds. And Arthur would have to weather that storm and come out on the other side if he was going to take the fight. Now, I actually thought that his tactics would be more to hit that jab from early and use the right hand as Yarde is walking, or as Yarde is coming in. But I also said Yarde had to come in, he had to double step his way closer into range to be able to let off shots in the mid to close quarters in order to get to Arthur quickly. And that's exactly what he was doing. But Arthur didn't employ the plan I thought he would. Instead, he was waiting for Yarde, like he was almost waiting to counter-punch him rather than being first and being aggressive, but then started to actually clinch with him and wrestle him, doing a very Tyson Fury-esque tactic of, because I'm the bigger man, possibly the stronger guy, because he looked like he might have been the stronger, at least from a sense of clinching, from the sense of being able to move someone about, because Yarde was being moved about quite a bit. But actually, now I look at it, I think Yarde might have just been allowing himself to be moved that way, because it's less draining when you're not having to push back. So even though you're letting the guy sort of push you and kind of whatever, like, you're still saving your legs. So that could have been it. But the tactic itself of trying to, I guess, drain down his, weather the storm but drain down his energy, it wasn't the right one. I also said in the video, like, the worst thing for him to do is to stay in the pocket doing this arm thing, trying to exchange, and you know, that was not the way to go either. So him being in all of these clinches was always a mistake, because that just gives a man chance to be closer to you than he needs to be, considering you're the one with the better reach, supposed better movement, although he didn't show it in that fight. He let the right hand go a couple of times, but I don't know if he put any real vim on them. But Yarde, I remember there was a couple of times he hit, it was in the 4th round actually, was the last time he hit him clean with a right hand, and I saw Yarde smile, and I was in the arena at this point. I saw the smile drop on Yarde's face. I was like, raw, okay, this is not gonna go the way man expected. And then the next thing you know, Arthur's getting clapped with a couple shots to the body, winds up on the ropes. He's just taking shot after shot. He's trying to clinch, he's trying to hold, but Yarde's just got the arms free. He's moving, he's doing his thing. Next thing, there was another one body shot. Then there was a shot that split the guard. Then it was a right hook which knocked Arthur through the ropes, and then he's on the ground. Now, when I was there, and Arthur got up, and then the ref waves off the fight. I'm like, what? What you talk, like, why have you waved it off? Like, he's on his feet. Then apparently I had heard that now there's a new rule. I don't know if it's across boxing or if it's just in the UK, but if you're not actively on your feet by the count of 8, then the ref will wave it off and it will count as a knockdown. Now, that to me doesn't make much sense, because if you're up before the 10 count, you've beat the 10 count. Like, why do you have to be up at 8? I don't know. If that's a new rule, that someone needs to explain to me why that's a rule. Because then what's the point of having a 10 count at all? It defeats the purpose, unless you then have an 8 count. Call it the 8 count from now on. If it's still a count of 10, like, because, you know, I can't even really explain that one. It doesn't really make sense to me. Like, realistically, anything before the count of 10 and you're up on your feet, you should be fine. You should be assessed in that moment whether or not you're okay to continue. And if you're not, then obviously, ref wave it off. If you are, you're just giving yourself an extra second. Like, it's an extra second to recover. Like, that's just being smart, if that's how you feel. But I mean, look, man didn't complain, so either he was glad to be out of there, or maybe he got a good payday, said, you know what, Commonwealth belt ain't even worth it, like, this whole fight ain't worth it. Or it could have even been you know what, I can take this loss because I've already beat him. It's one apiece. We're gonna have to see each other in the future anyway. Like, maybe I don't know. There could be a lot of reasons behind it. Now, the most clear and obvious reason, however, is that Anthony Yarde came much better than advertised on this fight compared to the previous one, and to be honest, compared to a lot of his other fights. He actually performed better in this fight than I think I've ever seen him in any fight. Kovalev, all of them. And I don't think it's any coincidence that comes at the time when James Cook has been appointed to the camp. Very credible, very knowledgeable trainer. And what I will say is this is what happens when Yarde brings a yard man into his camp. You can take that how you want to take it. I'll leave that one there. But big ups to James Cook, because I do believe he was the difference in how this fight went. But ultimately, again, I was wrong. I said it would be a UD for Lyndon Arthur, or potentially a late stoppage around like round 11 because of the gas tank. I did not think he would have the gas to get through that. And at the pace he started, he probably wouldn't have. But he was like, well, it doesn't matter because it's not going. They said they wanted 7 to 8 rounds. That's what James Cook thought it was. He said, nah, I'm not working overtime. If I get him out of here now, I get him out of here now. And that's clearly what the mindset was. So I've got to call into Monday Night Smoke today, this evening. And whatever gets said to me, I just got to take it. There is a discussion to be had about the new current light heavyweight list for the Britain, but I am not going to get into that video right now. I may do one on Wednesday, actually just breaking down the new list, my new order, and my reason why each person are where they are. But yeah, I mean, Yarde's moved off of the, what was he? I think he was like 6 or 7. He's moved off of that spot for the time being, but you might be surprised when you find out where I've actually ranked him. But yeah, look, let me leave it there because I gotta go shower. I gotta go get ready for work. So I got 2. Well, no, I got 2 out of the 3 right in terms of who was gonna win. The methods of victory was 1 out of 3. But you know, it's all part of fun and games, isn't it? But yeah. Again, please, people, like and subscribe, share the videos, click the notifications, help me get this channel growing. I'm on over 100 subscribers now. Some people actually hit me up, was like, nah, you know what? It took me 6 months to get to 100. So like, big ups to you for doing it in the short amount of time you have, and I respect that. But it still feels a bit like I don't want to say failure, but it feels a bit like, you know, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Help me out in it. Like and subscribe, share the video, click notifications. And thanks for watching. Hardcore Casual, out.